Hello, welcome to ItsFixable. This is a Bissell Clean View vacuum cleaner. It runs, but it has no suction. My girlfriend was doing somebody a favor and took this to drop it off at a vacuum cleaner service center. They took one look at it. They said, that's an inexpensive vacuum. By the time you pay us and buy new filters for it, you might as well throw it out and buy a new vacuum. We won't service it. When she told me about it, I said, that's ridiculous. Bring it over to me. I'll give it a complete service, figure out what's wrong, and get it working. All right, before I start taking this apart, I want to show you something. I'm going to put this down here so you get a better view. Okay, I'm going to plug this in. Now watch this little window here. See that that's green? Watch what happens when I turn this on. When this turns red, it tells you that the system is plugged and there's not enough draw to keep that green. So anyway, that is kind of a nice little feature. Yes, this isn't an expensive vacuum, but you know, not everybody can afford to pay a lot of money for a vacuum. Bissell hits the low-end market for cost, and they work just fine. So let's get this going. We push the little lock, take out the canister. We're going to look at that first. I'll get this out of the way. There is 4 filters on the Bissell vacuum. The first filter to look at, and dirt's going to come all over here when I open this, I think. Yeah. There's not too much in that canister though. But the first filter to look at is the cyclone filter, which is up in here. And if you look at this, does that show up in there? You see there's an inner tube here. If you grab that inner tube and twist it counterclockwise, this whole thing will come out. And look at that. Wow. That's the cyclone filter. It's just a plastic grate, and that can be cleaned with soap and water. So can the rest of this canister. This is all just plastic. It can be cleaned with soap and water. I'm going to open the top. Here we have another filter. There we go. So we have a foam insert and a little charcoal filter. These are washable. And the rest of this I will first blow out, and then I will wash this with soap and water. Okay, get some of this out of here. Yuck. Let me get these out of the way. I'm going to wash these all at once. So I'm just going to set this aside for now. And the 4th filter. Right here, the front, there's a little thumb latch. Pulls off that cover. And in here, there is a 4th filter. This is a paper filter. It's called the post-motor filter. And this is not washable. This you have to brush clean, blow clean, suck clean, or replace it. So it actually doesn't look too bad. If you look at it, that's pretty white. This side has some hair and debris on it, but I think that will just suck off of there using my shop vac. You see, that's pretty easy to clean up that way. This one's in good shape. This I can still use. All right, the rest of this here, let's see, why don't I get that out of the way? The rest of this I'm going to dismantle, and let's see, to do that, I think I'll roll this over on its backside. And the first thing is to check the hose. Now, you can see the hose runs from here, and if we just turn that counterclockwise, we can undo that, down to here. And this just stabs on. Oh, look at that. That is packed. Look at that. Wow. Yeah, that is solid. Okay, I'm going to have to take that apart. This hose is pretty packed full too. So we're going to use a rod to loosen what's in there and knock that out. There's one screw, a single screw right here, and that will allow me to remove this suction tube connection. Okay, then to get to the other end of this, let me turn this around. Oop. So the camera has a better view. What I'm going to do is open this up. There is a series of, looks like 6 screws to take this green plate off. There we go. Set that aside. This is the brush. You can see that. Oh, there's dirt clogged in there. But this will allow me to get to the other end of this suction tube and clean that out. This brush should just lift out of here like that. Take the belt off. See, there's even hair caught back under there. Get that out of the way. Oh, that's full of dust. I will blow all that out. There's hair wound around this brush a bit. The brush looks to be in pretty good shape. I don't see any excessive wear on it. And now we can get to both ends of this tube. So let's see, what do I have here? I've got a long dowel. Let's see if I can use that to go through here. Oh man, that is packed. That is not shoving through there because that is so full of debris. Let's see. Oh. All right, I've taken this rod and I've bent a little bit of a hook shape on the end of it, hoping that will allow me to hook the debris that's in there and pull it out. Yeah, there we go. That's working better. Man, I can't believe how packed that is. Look at that. Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous. But it'll all come out. There we go. Wow. I don't think I've ever seen a vacuum as plugged up as this one. Okay, that tube is clear. That was bad. All right, I think what I'll do is take a little time and actually take a brush on my vacuum. I'll use this brush on my shop vac and just sort of get this all dust free. And yeah, might as well have it look pretty fresh before I keep going here. So I'll be back with you in a minute. Okay, I've got this dusted out pretty well. Now I want to put this roller back, but before I do that, I want to get all the hair off of here, and it gets caught, just gets wrapped around, and I just try to take a knife and slide it down along and catch any of the hairs and sort of cut them so that I can pick them off. And just get all that off of there. That looks pretty good. Okay. And then we have to be sure that the bearings spin pretty well on the ends, that this turns. And what Bissell recommends you do is just to stand this on end and give it a spin, and it should spin freely. And if it doesn't spin freely, then you have to deal with repairing or replacing this brush roller. But this one works pretty well. So I think it is fine to go back in there. We have all the hair off it. We simply put the belt over it and then stretch it into place by pulling this down here. Oh, let's see. I might have to get my hands a little firmer grip on here. There we go. And it slips in and just snaps on there. That looks fine. All right, then we want to put our cover back on. You can put the wheel back down into place. This just fits in there. And then it's just a matter of putting the screws back in. And you don't need to watch me put screws in. So I'll be back with you in 1 minute and we'll move on. Okay, I have that all back together. Let's see, I got to put this back on. Now, before we put the hose back on it, I want to make sure this is clear. Okay, there we go. That's not too bad. All right, that can go back on. A twist up here. It just stabs on to that. And the hose clips in there to be out of the way. All right. That's all that unit. Now I'm going to take a damp rag and just clean all the dust off of this and get this looking better. All right, I'm just going to wash all these parts here with warm water. I'll start with these filter pads. That's just kind of dusty, that charcoal filter. You can buy all these, but these seem fine yet. Just need to rinse it out like that. That looks fine. Now that one's pretty grimy. I think I better do that in some cleaner water. Looks like I just have to do that a few times. Now these have to dry, completely dry, before they go back in the vacuum. These can just rinse off with warm water. And again, this has to completely dry before going in the vacuum. If we don't allow these filters to dry, if you run the vacuum, dust will immediately stick on here and clog up. It'll just turn to mud, it'll clog them all up. So, got to let them completely dry. And just a tip, if you don't want to wait a day for them to dry, just take a hair dryer and dry them out. Dry everything out really well. That's what I did. So we can put them back. There we are. Just reverse the order we took them out in. So first of all, the little charcoal filter goes in, and there's a little pull tab here. You just want to be sure that that is sticking up where you can get a hold of it. Put the foam filter in. Leave that little pull tab exposed. Simple as that. The cyclone, that just inserts back inside. And there's some notches around the top that have to engage, and you can just feel for that when it snaps in, and then turn it clockwise until it locks in place, and that unit is ready to go. We have our post motor filter, which needs to go in. All right, I'm going to turn this so the camera over here can see. This is just curved. It just sits over top of that curved vent grate, just like that. Okay. Then the cover snaps in. That's it. Pretty simple. We can put the canister back on. Slips over, snaps in place. And we're ready to roll. All right, let's see. Let's give it a shot. Okay, we'll plug it in. And we got to watch the little indicator. Yeah, works great. Indicator remains green, which means we have suction. All right, well, I'm going to go in and try this on some carpeted surface and see how it's working. Yeah. It works great. Nothing wrong with it now. That's super. Okay, a job well done.